So what if you could tap into the mind of an ancient Roman emperor to master the one skill that's the key to pretty much everything? Well, today we're doing just that. We're diving into the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius to help you build absolutely unbreakable self-discipline.
We all know this feeling, don't we? You've got a goal, you've got a plan, but then life happens. Distraction hits, procrastination slowly creeps in. In a world that's just packed with endless notifications and instant everything, focus feels like a legit superpower. But here's the good news, it's a superpower that anyone, and I mean anyone, can build.
So let me introduce you to Marcus Aurelius. This guy wasn't just anybody, he was the Emperor of Rome. We're talking one of the most powerful men on the planet. And yet, he somehow found time to write down his private thoughts, which we now know as the Meditations. And get this, he wasn't writing it for us. This was his own personal playbook for how to live a good life. And his secret weapon for running an entire empire and, himself? You guessed it, Stoic self-discipline.
All right, so before you can act with discipline, you've got to learn to think with discipline. So we're going to start with part 1, the foundation. It's all about building the right mindset, because this internal framework, well, it's what everything else is built on. It really all begins with your why. What were you born for? See, Marcus Aurelius believed that true discipline isn't about, gritting your teeth and forcing yourself to do things. It's about finding a purpose that is so compelling that it literally pulls you forward, especially on those days when you just want to stay buried under the blankets. Find your purpose, and I promise you'll find your drive.
Now, this next idea is a total game changer. It's called the dichotomy of control. Here's the deal. You have power over your mind, not over outside events. Think about it. Wasting energy on things you can't change, like traffic, the weather, or what someone else thinks about you, that is the fastest way to kill your discipline. You've got to focus your power where it actually matters, on your own thoughts and your own actions. Once you truly get this, you will feel so much stronger. Let's be honest for a second. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, why me? Or maybe making excuses? Yep, that's the victim mentality, and it is the absolute enemy of mental toughness. Marcus Aurelius would tell you that you must assume responsibility. Look, it might not be your fault that something happened, but it is always your responsibility to decide how to act. You've got to be the person who steps up, not the one who points fingers.
So with that strong mindset in place, we are ready for part 2, the practice. This is where it gets real. This is where that internal foundation gets translated into consistent daily action. It's where the theory becomes your reality. Marcus Aurelius basically asks, were you born to just feel nice and comfortable, or were you born to actually get things done? Self-discipline at its core is really just a muscle for delaying gratification. It's choosing the salad when the donuts are calling your name because you have a long-term health goal. You're just putting off what you might want right now to get something so much better later on.
You've heard it a million times. A goal without a plan is just a wish. And that feeling of being overwhelmed, that where do I even start feeling, that's what leads to procrastination. So you need a plan. Give your goal a deadline. Then break that big goal down into smaller, bite-sized milestones. Suddenly, you're in the driver's seat, and the whole journey feels manageable. Greatness doesn't come from some single heroic moment. It's forged in the simple, sometimes boring, daily act of just showing up. You build discipline by being consistent, by putting in the work even when you don't feel like it. And listen, a bad day doesn't have to turn into a bad week. Wake up tomorrow and remember, new day, new life.
Okay, this one might sound a little intense, but just stay with me. The Stoics would practice making life intentionally uncomfortable in small ways. Why on earth would they do that? To build resilience. By choosing these small, voluntary hardships, you're basically training for the day when a real hardship chooses you. It teaches you that, hey, you can endure a lot more than you think. So you've built the mindset, you've started the practice. Fantastic. But how do you protect that discipline for the long haul? Well, that brings us to our final section, fortification. It's all about making your resolve bulletproof. As you start to improve yourself, you will, inevitably, attract some haters and naysayers. It's just how it works. And Aurelius gives us the perfect strategy. Realize that getting upset over their opinions is a total waste of your precious energy. Their voice does not deserve to disturb your peace of mind. Seek out honest feedback from people you actually respect, and just learn to ignore the rest. Okay, enough about the negative influences. Let's flip the script and talk about the positive ones. Find people who have already achieved what you're working towards, who has mastered the habits you want to build. Learn from them. Ask them how they did it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel here.
You can learn from those who have already paved the road.
One of the most powerful things you can do to improve is to honestly look at your day. Before you go to sleep, just ask yourself these simple questions. Be brutally honest for sure, but also be compassionate. The point isn't to beat yourself up, it's just to become more self-aware. Forgive yourself for the mistakes, celebrate the small wins, and figure out how you can be just 1% better tomorrow.
So, we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? Building the mindset, taking daily action, fortifying your resolve. I know it can seem like a lot, but the secret to actually getting started is, well, it's beautifully simple.
That's it. Just one. Don't try to master everything all at once. That's a recipe for burnout. The real key to building lasting discipline is to start small. Just pick one single principle from everything we've talked about and begin right there. And that brings us to the final and most important question. What's it going to be for you? Will you take some time to define your purpose? Maybe practice a tiny voluntary hardship like a 30-second cold shower? Or maybe just start an evening review tonight? Choose one thing, just one, and commit to it right now. Because that choice, that's your first step on the Emperor's path to self-discipline.